box. Came in this together, we gave it all that we had. Who wouldn't like us? Haters big mad. Anytime you feeling sad, turn on our podcast. We talk about whatever just might make you laugh. You never know where the topics may go. Serious to random, have you rolling on the floor. Hope you join in and take part in our talks. Either way, appreciate you tuning in. Now out the box, out the box, out the box, out the box. We at the box, out 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 the box. If you hadn't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's right, anchor.fm to get started.
Hey, babe.
What's up, love?
How you feeling?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm good.
It's the holiday times. I'm in the Christmas spirit. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing real good. So I wanted to finish up our marriage episode.
Yes.
It lasted a lot longer than I thought that it would.
Yeah, because we be having stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Like marriage, y'all. Like, real deal.
It's
It's
hard.
a real thing. Marriage is a real thing. Like, it's not a title.
Mm-hmm.
It's like actually putting in work.
Mm-hmm.
Like a relationship. You thought you had to put in work in a relationship?
Yeah.
No, you wasn't obligated to have to put in work in a relationship because you could just leave. A
Mm-hmm.
marriage, you're there. You're bound there.
Not bound.
You're bound.
Oh, not bound.
You're bound. You're bound because you don't want to, especially if you still love that person, you don't want to get divorced, and you still want to work on your marriage. It's real hard. It's like you got a 8 hour, you got a full time, and then you got another full time with your relationship because you still got to put in time and energy. You still got to communicate. You still got to understand what's going on. If one person not feeling good or doing well, you got to understand and be considerate of that. You know, it's a lot of things that play in place of being in a marriage. And it's just like, it's a full time, and you got to take and make time for that and understand that every day is not going to be peachy, of course.
Right.
And even the days that it's like, one person, like I said, might not be feeling good. Their mental might not be on point. And it's just you trying to make sure that they're okay on top of what other issues that you have going on, family, work, job, just all of that, you know what I'm saying? And it's
because life don't stop.
Like, it don't stop because of your marriage or because of whatever the case may be. So at the end of the day, it's just like, if you're not married and you're considerate and you're like engaged, really, really think about it, because I didn't have nobody to tell me about marriage. I didn't see good examples of marriage. I thought I did at a particular time, but once I realized that, damn, that wasn't nothing but toxic shit going on, and that ain't how that's supposed to be. And of course, being in this generation, it's a lot of people out here that really want to reverse these generational curses and come out of it and heal and understand what it is like to be in a healthy marriage, in a healthy relationship. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I still have a lot of healing to do, and Quan can vouch for that, but at the same time, I feel like I'm better than what I was.
And that's the important part.
Yes.
And when you can see the growth in yourself, and you can see it, because I see the growth in you. Because
Thank you.
I know who you were before we became anything. And then when we became something. And then when we got engaged. And then when we got married. Like, I saw you grow as a person. I had to. Yeah.
I had to. It was like, a force of nature. Like, it forced me to grow up. Marriage is for mature people only. And that's real deal. You can't be kids getting married and thinking that, oh, because we love each other is the right thing to do. Like, no, you have to understand that life events take place, health conditions take place, family take place, jobs take place, financials take place. I mean, just a lot of other things. Communication, understanding, again, what we've been preaching on for the last other 2 episodes. It's a lot more in depth in that takes place that I just can't think of at the exact moment, but it's a lot to consider. Yeah. Being there, being that helping hand, like understanding what your spouse's weakness is, what their strengths is, understanding how to play what part is best for the marriage, not what you feel like is best for you, but it's best for the marriage. So compromising, that's a big deal in a marriage. Being able to put some of your feelings aside for a situation,
for the greater good,
and allowing that to overcome and be on your mate, and allowing their feelings to be more at front in the time of need. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all of that. Like, even just saying financially. Yeah. You know, everybody's not. You get married, everybody doesn't have a bunch of money. Everybody's not wealthy because you get married or whatever the case may be. Right. So you're going to have some situations where you might have to put this to the side or and think about, okay, well, is this what's best for us? Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So all of that, and then y'all coming on one accord and being on the same page, like, okay, yeah, we can do it like that. Just, it has to be full ongoing communication at all times to know what's going on, because y'all are married. It's not, you can't run it like a relationship at all.
Because you don't get to disconnect because you're having problems. Right. You don't get to neglect your spouse because you had a hard day. Yep. Or you going through some shit. Like, you have to invite that person in because you vowed to them that you always would. Right. For better or worse. And worse ain't kind of bad. Worse is worse. Worse is the worst. We have been at the worst to the point to where I was like, we ain't gonna make it. Yeah. Already, and we ain't even been married 2 years yet. Yep. But we've already got to the point to like, yeah, this our worst.
I was leaving work the other night, and I was actually on the phone with Bae, and I walked past a supervisor, and they was like, well, they said the first 3 years are the hardest. And I said, baby, what you think she talking about? Because it's funny because she always preaching it, but she say the first 5 years is the hardest. And I'm just like, Lord, it feel like we've been together in this marriage 5 years.
Already.
And we hadn't even made 2 yet. It's coming up, but we hadn't made 2 yet. But I feel like I'm grateful for it, because I feel like at this point that the I'm gonna say headache, the headache of, because I do get headaches after our confrontations. So I'm gonna say the headache of our confrontations is for the greater good, because once we get those kinks out, I feel like within 3 to 5 years we're going to understand who both of us are as people, which meaning, okay, so if I feel like certain things that she does in confrontations that piss me off more than the confrontation, like little teeth, what they call
you hate for me to suck my teeth,
suck your teeth.
You hate for me to mumble under my breath.
All of that, I feel like either this gonna either stop or I'm going to tune it out.
Well,
so
I think it's been a little bit of both though, like, because you used to tell me about, because I also used to have a very bad habit of, because okay, so when we get into altercations, Mel gets extreme, like, she gets really loud,
aggressive.
She gets very aggressive, but she gets very loud, and I can't take the loud. Right. So when I feel like she's yelling at me, because I shut down and I'm going to walk away. Well, I've learned, me walking away from her when she's yelling at me, it only fuels her fire, because at that point she feels unheard. She feels like, she feels abandoned. She feels like I'm not allowing her to tell me how she feels. So what I had to do is learn how to sit in it and tune out, like mute her, like I can hear her, but like muffle her. That's what I mean. So even though she's yelling, I tune out the loudness of what she's saying and focus on what she's saying, not how loud she's saying it. And so now I sit in it. I don't walk away from her when she gets aggressive, and it actually it has shortened the length of our arguments by me sitting in it and allowing her to get her feelings out and telling me how she feels. So that's something that I've learned. But also, like she said, me sucking my teeth, me mumbling under my breath, I stopped letting her see me do it. No,
yeah, she just turned the TV up this time. So it's like, also again, in marriage, it's like techniques you gotta try to switch and see what works best for you, because it go from one thing, okay, my mate don't like that, oh, she don't like that either. And then it go from, let me turn the TV up on her ass, and oh, well, I can't do that because that ain't working. That piss off too. So it's like learning different techniques that help you cope in the confrontation. Yes. Like, y'all, for real, we laughing, but we laughing because marriage is pleasure and pain.
Yeah, it's both.
It's pleasure and pain, and you gotta sometimes laugh to keep crying. Yeah. Because it's hard and it's serious. Yeah. And it can be stressful. Mm-hmm. And people that walk around, not saying that you're not genuinely happy, but I don't like the people that walk around and act like they have no problems in their marriage, because I feel personally like everybody has issues. It might not be the exact issues that we go through, but it's some type of issues that they go through, and to display as though everything is peachy and great at all times.
Well, I don't agree with that, because I do believe that some people don't, because not everybody was raised in trauma. Not everybody didn't have good examples of what marriage was. Some people got married knowing what it took.
So you telling me they don't have no type of disagreements?
No, I feel like they have disagreements, but I feel like to say that it's not correct, that they are not, everything is not peachy keen, like, I feel like that's wrong. I feel like there are some people who have marriages, like, I have, I used to work at a casino, so I used to meet a lot of people, especially older people, because they love casinos. And so the position that I was in allowed me to be able to talk to a lot of, like, people. You know what I'm saying? And one, like, I met a couple, they had to be like 80 years old, and that woman said out of her mouth, her and her husband have never argued a day in their life since they've been married. They have never argued.
And you believed it?
I definitely
Not believe. Even over who gonna wash the clothes, who gonna make the bed. Yes. You don't believe they argued over? No. I don't believe
I do. And because, again, like I said, everybody was not raised in trauma.
So if you're not arguing about it, that means you holding it in.
Yeah, now that I can agree with that I believe that. So then
that means at some point you're unhappy.
Well, not necessarily. Some people are not unhappy being submissive. Some people, so she could have very well, or it could have been him, because she could have been the more aggressive one. But some people are very happy being just submitting. Some people are happy just submitting, and it's like, okay, you don't like that, sorry, baby. And there's no argument, because you don't like that. I know you can't imagine what that feels like, because that's, but I mean, that ain't true. But I'm saying, like, I can see it. I believe her when she said that they have never argued a day in their marriage. I believe her.
I don't believe it. And she's how old? She was like,
they looked like that. Yeah, they were older. She could have been like 80.
Girl,
I'm just saying.
Him leaving the seat up or something. She gonna just put it there every time.
Yes, because there are some people that are that way. Everybody's not confrontational.
Everybody's not confrontational, but it's at some point where you get upset and then you have to talk about something and it get heated, because at some point it's like it either the build up or it's repetitive.
That's your understanding. That's your understanding, because you have never been in a situation to where you don't even have to argue like that. But I can see that. Okay, so I say this. So I've said before. So I've had an example of what marriage looks like. I never saw my grandparents argue. I know for a fact that they have argued. I know for a fact that they have cheated on each other. I know for a fact that he has put his hands on her. Like, I know that they have went through things. But with me being alive and me seeing their marriage, I never saw them argue. They never argued. Even when they were upset and you could tell that they were upset with each other, they didn't argue. And then the next day, they would be okay. My grandma would get up, she would fix birth. They didn't argue.
So how did they handle it?
See, but that's what I'm saying. Those are things that I unfortunately was not able to ask because they left this world. They transitioned before I could. But so when she said, me and my husband have never argued a day in our marriage, I believe her. Because what I think the way that conversation came up, so she handed me, you know, I used to work at B Connect, where they hand you the card so you can scan and see if they have any promotions. So when she handed me her card, her hands were cold. And I was like, oh, your hand's cold. I was like, you should go over there and get you some hot chocolate. And she was like, oh, I'm just in love. And I was like, you in love? And that's how the conversation came. And she started talking to me about her husband. And she was like, yeah, we have never. I said, how have you been married so long? And she was just like, I just always be his friend. She was like, we have never argued a day in our marriage. I said,
she
never?
She was married to Aquarius. She said she always be his friend.
I can see it. But, well, no, I can't see it because they never argued.
But
because y'all will argue with a wall.
If it was submissive, mm-hmm. like how she portray, well, mm-hmm. I ain't gonna say portraying, but how she say she is, mm-hmm. then I wouldn't argue. It wouldn't be nothing to argue about.
There have been times where you say something and I don't say nothing, and you have an argument with yourself because I didn't say nothing. Oh, she don't want to say nothing because now she over there in her feelings. So I don't believe you. You need more people.
I don't believe her. She needs more people because just like you gave an example of your grandparents. You said, well, I know they argue for a fact, mm-hmm. but they never argued around me. I feel like that's the same way.
Well,
I feel like they argued in private and nobody can really vouch that they never argued.
Well, when I was living with them, there was no private. So what I'm saying is by the time that I was born and I was old enough to understand what was going on, so that was like 12, 13, when I started being aware of them and their marriage and the way that they were, they didn't argue. So that's because
they didn't argue in front of you.
No, they didn't argue. I'm telling you, they didn't argue. When they would get upset with each other, they would just separate. They never argued, and that's what I'm saying. So that, to me, that comes with, okay, they worked out their kinks. They worked out their kinks. They would get upset with each other because that's given. Because again, you're still, even though you're married, still two separate people. But they didn't argue. Like, the only time I even heard my grandmother raise her voice at my granddaddy is so funny. It was when the Juvenile song Back That Ass Up came out. So we were, my granddad, he was a very silly man. And he was always just trying to make people laugh. So he had a chair. So we watching the video on like BT or Uncut or something. And my grandmother, she's in her room, laying across her bed, watching like Game Show Network or something, because that was her thing, either CNN or Game Show Network. We watching Back That Ass Up. So you remember what that video looked like. So my granddaddy grabs the chair from the dining room table, and he has the chair in the middle of the floor like it's one of the girls, and he just dancing with the chair like, back that ass up. Back that ass up. And so my grandmother, she like slowly walked around the corner and just stood there, and she just watched them. And the loudest that I've ever heard her get with him was she used to always call him by his last name, so she just yelled out, Gillum, sit your old ass down. And he went and sat down in his recliner, and he looked like somebody had stole his ice cream. But that was okay.
Never had no fun.
Yeah. But they never argued, and I think he left, and he came back with some flowers, and they was good. So I never heard them argue, and I really feel like they worked out the kinks. You know what I'm saying? It was like he understood.
I wish I was raised in it.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. So that it's not, to me, it's not
everybody.
Yeah, it's not everybody, but it's not hard for me to believe a person when they say that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, also, let's just go one step further. So so we know how my grandfather and my grandma started off, and then I can see how they ended up. So that's why I say work out the kinks. But then let's go to my great grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Who married my great granddaddy when he was like 40 years old. She was like 12. They didn't argue either.
She ain't had no place.
Correct. So again, that there was nothing there but submission. So it was no matter what he say goes. You know what I'm saying? So they also didn't argue.
But is that healthy?
That definitely wasn't healthy. But I'm saying, I'm just showing you that there's two different ways that I have again had two examples of marriages that there was no arguing in.
I understand, but that's what I said initially was either it's unhealthy or you're unhappy if you're not actually having some type of confrontation about something in those amount of years.
That's trauma in you, though. That's what I'm saying. That's trauma in you. My grandma and granddaddy were not unhappy. Like, my grandmother...
They had the most trauma in their lives, though.
What you mean?
Just growing up in a place to where racism was very at the forefront and all of that. Like, all of that is trauma.
Yeah.
So, it's just like how you telling me that they didn't have trauma. Everybody carries some type of trauma.
Right. I agree with that. So, but what I'm saying is that trauma and the issues that resulted from that trauma, that was in the beginning of their marriage. They were like, because I think they got married. My mother was 3 months old when my grandmother and granddaddy got married. So, yeah. And so it's just like, okay, so let's say up until my mom was probably like 16, 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? Because my grandparents, they owned liquor store, clubs. They used to have parties. Like, I remember very briefly at the beginning of my life, like, my grandmama's house was lit. Like, my grandma's house was the lit house. That's what people would come, play dominoes, play cards. They always had a party every weekend. Yeah. And then my grandma used to smoke cigarettes. And it was just like, then that stopped. And she started going to church. And she stopped smoking cigarettes. And she stopped drinking. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, those issues that I guess they used to have, they also died down from that. And it's like, my grandmother was not unhappy with him. Like, she loved my granddaddy to death.
But when she fell leave him for Smokey Robinson?
But that's when my mama was a baby. My mama was a baby when she was going to leave my granddaddy.
So she was still in her toxic phase.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I say with them, using them as an example, they work out the kinks. Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, of course, I feel like us getting to that point where we've been married for a long time, I feel like our confrontation is going to die down like that. I feel like you not become complacent in those confrontations, but understand that person and where they're coming from, and not know that it's not an ill will place, or knowing that this is just who I'm married to, a psychopath or something like that. And then
don't call names, Mel, because you don't like it. You don't like to be called names.
I'm just saying, like,
let's not do this on the air. For example. Don't make me go left and show these people who you really are.
No, I really am. But I'm talking about, like, in general, like, if you know that you're married to a psychopath or a narcissist,
right, then
you understand that after so long. That's like Freddie and Jason marrying each other, and you understand, like, you just go kill people together instead of trying to kill each other.
Babe, you need anything? You want me to go get you a knife or something?
But I'm just saying though, so it's just like, yeah, just getting to the point where you work out the kinks. The 3 to 5 years is probably how it was with them, huh? Within that time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 15 to 20, from what I understood. But again, it's because of everything else that was in their lives. That, like, my granddad, my granddad was a club owner. He owned a liquor store, so it was like constantly being surrounded by women. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure, like, it was a long time with them. Yeah. But again, it was because they both had trauma. Right. So they didn't go to counseling. You know what I'm saying? It was just something like my grandmother, hers looked like it was going to church. Yeah. And so that made her a different person when she gave her life to the Lord. So that changed it for them. That seemed to work out for them. But that's what I'm saying. So I do believe that it is a possibility that people can be married, and that these people that do display this, like, I don't believe it's that we don't have disagreements. I don't believe that because they are displaying nothing but happiness, I don't look at that and say, oh, they lying. I believe them because everybody was not raised in trauma. Some people were raised in love. And so when you're raised in love, you react to things differently. You respond to it differently. Because even if I just think about some of the ways that I do respond to certain things, that's not coming from a toxic place. That's coming from a love place, and remembering what that felt like to be in a similar situation and receive love from that, and not pain and hurt. Yeah. And so it makes me deal with it in that exact same way, because that's the example that was set for me. Damn. So yeah, I do. I believe that. So so when you think about marriage,
everybody in my life that it could have been an example or could have been a great example wasn't not.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that at the end of the day you can fully heal from that?
You definitely can heal.
Like, fully heal.
Yes. As long as you're putting in the work. Like, you're putting in the work. As long as you are actively working. That's like when you see, I'm going to use an example that's like when you see people that start off doing hair. And when they first start making their wigs, they be trash. You know what I'm saying? But constantly working and then that should be seamless. Like, it be fly, look like it's coming from the scalp. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's from working. That's working. You are actively working to get better. Yeah. And so I feel like that's with anything in your life. Yeah. Okay. But you definitely, you are an example of what it looks like to heal. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you still have things, but the person that you are now, you are not the male that I met in 2014. Like, y'all would be two totally different people. At this stage in my life, I couldn't deal with 2014 male. So that's why I say I see you growing constantly, like major leaps.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Because I knew I was growing. I knew I was trying to become better, but I didn't know like how fast or how slow the process was going.
Some things you're a little slow to the trigger on, but some other things you pick up very quickly. You know, like one of the things that you like, I feel like that was one of my major things about you that also, because there is nothing that I love more than honesty. And so one of my also favorite things about you is that I pick up on vibes. So it's very easy for me. I can easily tell when a person lies, and it's not what they say. It's the nonverbal cues. It's the way that the air feels. It's the way that I twitch. It's like something that I pick up on, and it was like one thing that I love about you is no matter how bad it was, you always told the truth. Yeah. So that was very easy for me to like work with you on anything because you told me the truth. You allowed me to make my own decision. So my decision was, okay, I'm gonna help her through this. Aww. So yeah, every day I wake up and I actively choose to love you because that's something that is, like you said, it's a job.
It's unconditional for me, sis.
But yeah, every day I wake up, I actively choose to love you. Like, no matter what happened the day before, I wake up every day saying, I'm going to make this day better.
You get emotional?
Hell no. Don't do that to me. You know I'm not an emotional person.
You just said hell no.
But I ain't mean it like that. I'm a little emotional on the inside. I'm not. But, you know how I feel about you. Like, I love you deeply. I'm not sensitive like that. But every day I wake up and I actively choose to love you. Like, I every day I say, I'm going to do something today that makes her smile in some type of way. No matter what it is.
I feel like I have so much love to give and I had nobody to actually give it because I wasn't receiving it. Or when I was giving it, I wasn't receiving it. So that made me, like, shut down. So it's like the love that I have is like, I have so much of it, and it's so much of it that I be wanting to give to you.
Give it here, baby. I can take it. No, why are you tearing up? That's why you wanted me to get emotional so you wouldn't be alone. My baby's like, she
didn't even cry on our wedding day, man.
I did. I had tears in my eyes. But she just couldn't see it because I had waterproof mascara on. She cried really hard, and I keep saying, you just didn't see me cry because you was crying so hard. And but I did cry. When she read her vows to me, I cried.
One tear fell. It didn't even fall. It was like sitting in the crease of her eye.
You know that I'm not an emotional.
That was your wedding day.
I was extremely emotional. I was very emotional. Like, I was nervous. I was trembling when I walked in and I saw when they opened them doors up and I saw you standing at that altar. Like, my heart was about to beat out my chest. My legs buckled. Like, but at the same time, I was like, look at my forever. That's my wife down there waiting on me. Let me go get her. But I mean, at the same time, like I said, I had tears in my eyes. I did cry. When you read your vows, the way that you ran from that altar to come and get me, like, all of that, you couldn't even see me because you was crying. But I was crying too.
I couldn't see you. I seen you the whole time.
But then you would have saw that I was also crying.
I seen that too, sitting in the corner of your eye. I didn't want to fall.
No, that's just, you're looking at the pictures. That's because
I was looking at you, but I was looking at you in your eyes when I was reading my vows.
So when you was looking me in my eyes when you was reading the vows, you was crying. So you didn't see my tears because you thought that was yours.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, so I did cry on the wedding day. I mean, I'm not a crier.
Just say that then.
I'm not a crier, but I'm telling you that on our wedding day, I did cry. That I cried.
You cried before the wedding?
No, I didn't cry before. All of my tears came when I saw you. When they opened the doors and I saw you standing there at the altar at the beginning of the aisle.
That's what we should have played that Jamie Foxx song. When I saw her.
When I first saw you, I said, "Oh my." Okay. Anyway.
Some type of emotion. Damn it, give me something.
Don't do that, because there was a lot of emotions there. It was like I felt so overjoyed because honestly, yeah, I was really afraid that she wasn't coming.
Yeah, you did say that.
Mm-hmm.
You thought I wasn't gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dang, I ain't have to be there for like another 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah,
Shit,
so I was there.
I had to do a couple things, man, before I got married.
I was there and I was getting dressed and I was like, I kept saying, "Is she here yet? Is she here yet?" They're like, "No, not yet. No, not yet." And then I'm looking at the time and I'm like, "She's still not here." So I'm like, she not coming. She gonna stand me up. And then it was like maybe like 5 minutes before they was like, "She's here." I was like, "She here?" Like okay. So yeah, maybe I did have some tears because you showed up. I did have tears before the wedding because I was like, she came. Because I really didn't think you were coming.
Why though?
I just didn't think you was, because you flighty. And I know, like I said, the longest we had actually been together was a week.
I would have told you before you even went there if that was the case.
No, ma'am.
I wouldn't have let you be up there embarrassed like that.
Like I said again, man, I remember y'all went.
Because I told you, regardless of the fact of you feel like me being flighty, which I have that characteristic trait. But at the end of the day, I told you, like in another episode, that I would give you that, come out of me and give you that to understand that in order not to feel some type of way, feel embarrassed.
You would give me closure.
I would give you. Yeah, I would have gave you that.
Okay, but the only...
You didn't know that then.
Yeah, because the only thing that I remember is that night that we went out. We had a date. I don't know what we did. I don't know where we had went, but wherever it was, we was dressed really nice. So I don't know where we went, but we had a date. And then when we were leaving, we went to eat last after whatever we did first. We went to eat last. I think we may have went to a comedy show. Wildin' Out. I don't know. It was something, but we went to eat after that. Mm-hmm. And so when we're leaving there, you remember this is when there's a super moon going on. So we're driving in the direction of the moon, and the moon is huge. And then what comes on the radio is "For Lovers Only" by Maxwell. You remember? Mm-hmm. And we talked about how romantic this was with us driving towards the supermoon with Maxwell crooning in the background. And we get home. And you remember what happened when we got home? You said, "So, yeah, I'm not ready." I thought that I was ready. So, you broke up with me after the most fucking romantic ass night. So, yeah, no, I didn't think you was gonna fucking show up. Anyway.
But why you still having on the old
Y'all hear the aggression in my voice? Yeah, it's up.
I love you.
This why we be arguing.
Cause the shit from the past. She can't let go.
I still got trauma that needs to be healed.
We both do.
Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. Babe, what we want them to do?
We want y'all to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook at @theboxds. Also, you can leave us emails at @theboxds@yahoo.com for any suggestions, advice, questions, anonymously if you want. Also, look both ways for them tap water babies. We on brand, at the box. Peace.
Bye.